that the music that he plays.
He'll be back.
What was that?
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Okay.
He'll probably hear you.
Okay. So I am. Well, I am. So there you go. All that matters. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been communicating with Carolyn for many months about coming. She's very organized, as you probably know, and plans in advance, which is a very, very good thing. And so we've been, dates and didn't work out. But here I am, perfect timing. And I just wanted, as I begin with my message, I just want to share with you how it's just been so beautiful. It's such an experience walking in here and feeling your light and your joy and your, seeing your smiling faces, your openness and your welcoming feeling here, because I had no idea. I mean, you don't, but I know that this church has been around for quite a while, and there's always got to be something very grounded and strong that lives here, that continues to bring people over time and generations, and it's just so wonderful how you're all the light. So I'm really feeling it. Yes. And I'm not just buying time here, but you guys don't know me, and I love doing this, and I never know what thoughts. Because for me, it's not just reading a script. And although, I do my preparation. That was part of how I was taught. So I would like to talk today about the idea of the spontaneous fulfillment of desire. And without desire, none of us would be living. We would have completely atrophied, become absorbed with the status quo, right? We wouldn't feel that groundedness and that newness that always has to offer, and very importantly, it awaits our recognition of it. And so far today, there's been plenty of that in the program. But it's also when we walk out the door and we get in our car and we begin to return to our everyday life, that it really serves us to have developed a practice of that, to have that wherever we are in that process on the spiritual path, that more than not, that recognition of the greater truth comes to us more quickly, and that the recognition of the infinite spirit of life that is what we are, we're one with it. There's no separation from it. This is primary in terms of the spontaneous fulfillment of our desire. is to align our inner state with the flow of life. And I love that, Emily Katie. Prayer, I think that spoke to that idea very well. And then to, as we open and we listen, that the voice of God becomes our voice. It's personal. It has warmth and feeling and healing for our spirit. It has direction for us. So listening is a very powerful thing, and to do that we can do during the weeks to nurture ourselves. When a person believes that God is specializing for you, the person is absolutely right. Isn't it incredible that this idea, this concept, that within an infinite number of people, ongoing, that the spirit of life, infinite intelligence, divine wisdom is specializing for each one of us? That's incredible. It becomes... Myrtle Fillmore, many years ago in the Science of Mind magazine, that a belief needed to be at least a little more than halfway there. And many other New Thought authors have stressed the fact that the mind of God is infinite, containing all possibilities. Now, I have a regular practice. I've been studying for a very long time. I will never stop that. Listening to other talks, reading, whatever I feel, I'm always guided, and what I need comes to me. And today, being here with you is what has come to me. But they all stress that the mind of God is infinite, containing all possibilities, and it awaits our recognition of it. It doesn't mean that we live pie in the sky, although we could. It doesn't mean that we don't have compassion and a recognition for what's going on in the world. It doesn't even mean that we don't have opinions. But it does mean in the end that from within our own being that there's a greater wisdom, and that we cannot be absorbed and become that circumstance, that concern. And we can't fix others. We can love them. We can let them know in, whatever is appropriate, that they're important to us, and that we see the best for them, whatever that, without even knowing exactly what that may be. Sometimes I think we get into the habit of thinking that worrying about someone or trying to fix them means loving them, when actually the opposite is very true. It pushes the person away. It alienates them. It's like affirming that they're not enough. You are enough, I am enough, we are enough, and everyone out there is enough, even if it's just potential. No problem. No, because you can't, you're laughing, you're making me laugh. Let's face it, you can't go through life without changing. So let's make changing really matter. So our part is changing our mind about ourselves and about life itself wherever we feel stuck, wherever we don't feel that aspiration, wherever the worry and the concern takes over and we find ourselves becoming part of the problem, whether that be because we're worrying or because we have strong opinions. And let's face it, in life itself, none of us know. We don't know beyond this minute. We've all had circumstances in our life, either right now or in the past, that have come up that have just blown us away. In terms of like, who would have thought that this would have happened to me? Or that, this is the way that things are. But we've had the flip side of the same thing, right? Where it's like, wow, how did that work out? That's amazing. That was a really positive, wonderful demonstration. And I played some part in that. So let's remember this concept. Expression is our divine nature. Expression. The creative process moving within us. The desire to express oneself is fundamentally positive. And it is rooted into the creative nature of life. But we can only, our expression can be only at the level of our belief about ourselves individually and life. So it's very, very important for us to ask ourselves, what do I believe about myself? Who do I think I am? Well, we know who we are. We're powerful beings of divine spirit. That's why we're here. Now, what are we going to do with it? And our age and our circumstances in life have absolutely nothing to do about it, to do with it. And wherever we are and whatever our circumstances can always work to our advantage if we are open to that possibility. This is serious stuff. And this is powerful stuff. And this is exciting stuff because it means freedom for us. It means that we say what? We say what, and then we get ourselves out of the way. We get our negativity, our doubts, and our belief out of the way of the divine circuits that are flowing through us that will manifest spontaneously the right circumstances, the right outcomes for our highest good. Always. So we're called to open our heart and our mind to our desires. Status quo is out. Same old, unless you really like it and it, and it nurtures you and it empowers you, great. But the more we pay attention to ourselves, we can discern what should stay and what should go. I know we can. We intuitively know that by how it feels. I remember the first time I heard this idea, we are not automatons. So it's an old term. I don't think it's used very much anymore, but I checked to see, well, what actually is the definition of an automaton? And it said, someone who acts in a mechanical, robotic, or monotonous way, often without thinking or feeling, similar to a machine. Yikes. And if we were created as an automaton with no choice, with no required participation in the practice of the fulfillment of our desires, that would be a very sad life. So, being open to change and new ideas of who we are is vital. And I think, speaking from my own experience, of course, I don't know that I was always the eternal optimist. My eternal optimism before I began studying science of mind, but it was one that took a lot of extraction, was if they would change, if this would change, then I would feel more free. And when I began to be aware of the specifics in my life of how that was playing out, wow, it was appalling. Because I was learning a better way. And that fixing the other was not my job. And fixing the other or the circumstance was expressing a belief that at one point on the surface, it was expressing a belief that I'm smarter, that I know better, that I have the wisdom to help you. And as I went deeper and deeper into my studies, beginning to accept the idea that I was an expression of God, and what is the nature of God? Because what the nature of God is what we are. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second. So, in that process of looking at myself, then that was the really difficult part of the journey, because I was able to begin to see where I was lacking, where this was a compensation that I'm so smart and I'm the one that can. Because I was the oldest child of 6, plus everyone else that was brought into the menagerie of chaos, of alcoholism. And I'm the oldest. And it was hard. But I lost sight of that, how difficult it was, how inadequate I felt in those circumstances, how at 9 years old, I had no idea how to take care of an infant. And yet, I always did the best I could. So, as I'm getting into my adult life, I'm flipping the story. Because I can't feel that inadequacy. It's too painful. So down it goes. Here I am, out in the world. I'm in charge of everything. I know how to do this. Well, anyway, it's a scary story. And I won't bore you with it. But thank God, something in me when a friend of mine said, and I was living in Paradise at the time, you need to go to this little church on Billy Road in Paradise. And I said, okay. The voice of God. No resistance. Now, was I apprehensive? Yes. Did I sit in the very back by the door and pre-located where the restroom was in case I cried a big boo-hoo? Yes, I did that for a long, long time. But little by little, I felt loved. I felt safe. And it wasn't just the people, although people are always part of our experience. It wasn't just the people. It was that I was beginning to recognize, to feel my vulnerability, to feel what I was noticing in my subconscious. It was coming up to the surface. And sometimes when I would least expect it, like driving around the corner to Paradise Lake, up to Magalia, going past Paradise Lake, and this beautiful, serene lake with the blue skies and the pine trees, and this thought would come that would be, oh my God, I did that. I said that. I believe this. So, this is the part of the journey that I think is, to some degree or another, it's never ending. Now, I speak to a lot of communities that are primarily white-haired, or going there, almost there, whatever. And and I'm right there. So things, as we get a little older, things change in our health, in our stability, in our body. Things change. But we have to remember that how we view that is important to how it will feel. Because that's an outer circumstance. But when we really ground into this feeling that is here in this community, when we in our own practice or even just driving and choosing to think beautiful thoughts, to see the sky, to just breathe and to feel the presence coming up within us, to know that we're loved, that we're always cared for, and that our openness to that is vital. It's vital to the fulfillment of our desires. We're not here to solve all the problems of the world or other people. We are here to get our nothingness out of the way about ourselves, first and foremost about ourselves and who we are, to get our nothingness out of the way, to get our false beliefs out of the way, and whatever, this is, to know thine own self is freedom. And to just feel the presence, to let it be there for us. And we could begin to become who we really are. So our part cannot be fulfilled without a very specific idea of expression. Who are you? What are your values? What are the things that are important to you? What are the qualities of this thing that we call spirit? Peace, power, beauty, joy, harmony, life. What is life? Life is in here, vibrating, percolating, saying, take me. You are mine and I am yours. And I specialize for you. And I have created you out of this infinite possibility of life itself. So what do you desire? We don't get asked that very often. But we need to ask ourselves. And what are the qualities of that thing that we want to desire? I bet we can find things like love and joy. And so it calls us to get a new idea about what it means to express love. Love that comes from out of myself because I know who I am and whose I am. Because I choose to nurture and to be in those ideas so that what I desire and the way that I want to express is felt. And it's said that gratitude is one of the easiest ways to prime that pump. I was listening to a Karen Drecker song on the way over. I don't know if any of you guys know her, but she, gratitude. I am grateful, grateful for all the love that I am. Bang. Yeah, like that. And just chiming that simple thing over and over again. Have you ever known in songs how repetitive some of them are? Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. But let's not get ourselves out of the equation. I think that's one of my main messages to what do you want? What's important to you? Because it's already all around. So I invite you to have clarity about your desires. Clarity is necessary for the spontaneous fulfillment of that desire. Can't be wishy-washy. But see, we don't have to, so remember, we have a part in the creative process. So what I want, the expression that I want to have go through me is my part in becoming clear. Because God says what? See, spirit creates on its own. Because spirit is all good, whole, complete, and perfect, nothing lacking, infinite possibilities. So spirit on its own says Rosie. It's a Rosie. It's a Paul, it's a Matt, it's a Matt. I don't know all your individual things, but it's your freedom. Clarity where you can see it. Clarity where you can feel it. There's a feeling associated with that clarity. And you begin to own it and accept it as your possibility. And you know what? It's amazing how when we really wrap ourselves around that practice, automatically before maybe the full demonstration, oozing out of us. Today I'm grounded in peace. And I'm going to see the beauty in everyone I meet. And I am open to receiving all that love and that beauty. But actually, I already have, because it starts with giving. We give, and the more that we receive, but with a clarity of the desire. So make a list today, if you're inspired to, make a list of 5 things that you desire. Please, don't overthink it. It could be, a greater consciousness of. It could be just simply, I have faith in myself. You get to say what it is. Or it can be specific. Either way. Ask yourself, what would your life be like? I'll never forget this story that Michael Beckwith tells, that this woman came to him for counseling and, what we call spiritual mind treatment. And she was just going on and on about all these physical things that she was experiencing. And that's what she didn't want. She was very clear about what she didn't want. She had no clarity about what she wanted to have instead. Is like, so if you didn't have all those limitations, what would life be like for you? See, that's our part. What is it I desire? And that picture becomes so, that's our seed that we're planting in our garden. And when we put a seed like that in the soil, and then we nurture it, grows a beautiful plant of the nature that seed is. Is it a squash that just goes crazy? What is it? And then identify the quality of God would be a blessing. You're expressing it. So 3 things. What do you desire? Get really clear, with your imagination. Get clear about what it is. It's palpable. Plant it. Let it go. But nurture it by bringing that feeling, all those qualities back to it. So what if all of this was gone? And you want to live your life? I don't know. No clue. He said, I can't help you until you know what you want instead. How do you want your life to be like? And then let go of our... Here's another biggie. Trust. Trust the outcome without digging up how it's doing. And what if? Trust. Oh, who you're going to trust. We know. Trusting that life can bring what we need in its own timing helps us remain open. Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. That's you. Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Dream. Let your mind run crazy with dreams, with good things. And Steve Jobs said, don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice. Because God is specializing for you. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. And that's the story. That's the story today of who we are. And so it is. And so you are.